Hi, it's Richard Flook here, the How Can I Heal podcast, and I have two amazing gentlemen that I think you will be. Well, what we're going to talk about is tinnitus, or in the US they call tinnitus. And this is ringing in your ears. And if you've ever had it, it can drive you mad. I mean, honestly, it can drive you insane. So bad that there are people that take their lives because of it. So if there was a solution, then, to solve that problem, then you would want to do it. And if you've ever had tinnitus, you'd understand. So this is what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about tinnitus. How can you really solve it? And you're going to meet two incredible people. One of them I've never met, but we talked many a time online, called Boris Seedorf. And we've got a good friendship. I've got to get up to Hamburg, where the clinic is, to go and meet him. And I met him through the Earth Summit, and this is another thing for another day. And then also his the person that owns the practice is Robert Kroll, correct, Robert, or Kroll?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
it's
okay.
close, I would say.
Well, my name's crazy, so. And please, both Robert and Boris, English is not their native language.
Yes.
It's German. So my questions will be slower than if someone was speaking in English. So forgive me, but the information is incredible. So I think where we can start off is. And let's start with you, Robert, to start with first. I've only just met Robert from on here, but Robert's story is quite interesting, and then Boris, your story is amazing too. So let me ask you, Robert, you got into this out of desperation because I believe, so Boris has told me, you had tinnitus, and you struggled with it, trying to find a solution.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So,
struggled a long time ago, and it came along my way already when I was 15 years old. I went to a concert, and it was pretty loud there. I had a cold also. I was not really in power and shape, but then the concert was really loud, and I got out of the concert. Afterwards, I was feeling pretty dumb, my ears, and also I had ringing in the ears. And after one night, I thought in the beginning, yeah, maybe it's going away, but after one night it was still there. It was not that loud anymore, but still it was a high tone frequency on one side, on the left side, and that was, from that point on, I had tinnitus, and I felt really, really bad at this time. And I went to the doctor, and I got the normal treatment with cortisone. And at this time, it's a long time ago, I went to a clinic for 10 days, and I got a treatment, infusions every day with cortisone and Trental. Trental is a drug for the blood, that the blood is running better through the veins. And but it was not getting better, and so I was a little bit frustrated. And and from that point on, everybody told me then, yeah, you have to live with it, and there's nothing you can do. And after a while, I started to feel better. The tone was still there, but it's I still had tinnitus. And I, from that point on, after a few years, there was an episode. It was getting even worse. It was louder then. And still the same progress, went to the doctor, got treatment with cortisone, and tried also other treatments. For example, the oxygen treatment in a pressure cabin, and also acupuncture and physiotherapy and osteopathy. Everything I tried out, and nothing really helped me. And still there was the answer, yeah, you have to live with it right now. And once again, I went there. At this time, I was around 20 years old. I went to a psychologist, and we worked together that I can live with the tone. And it worked out again. And I was again, yeah, for a few years, it was okay. The tone was louder, but I said, okay, it doesn't matter anymore. And then after a few years, then again, I had another episode where the tone was getting louder again. And from that point on, the tone was that loud and on both ears then. And then I also had pressure on the ear. I had dysacousis and also very sensitive of tones. And then there was no point to live with it. And so I was again looking for help and what else I can do. And after a long period, I would say, where I was depressive, I found something. I found a laser treatment in the internet that was from a doctor, Dr. Wilden, and so I got in contact with him, and he was at this time already on a Balearian island, Ibiza, and also the son was working in a clinic with the same laser treatments in the south of Germany. And so I went there, and I tried it out. And this one, after a while, worked very good. And the tone and everything was getting lower and not that aggressive anymore. And so it was one point to come back in life again, I would say. And besides, I was also working together with a somatic experiencing therapist. That was very good also. And these both treatments, I would say, was very good to recover. And it was the first time when the tone was getting less. And and right now it's still a little bit there, but I have episodes where it's really calm, I would say, and much better. That's
Well,
in a few in a few sentences what happened with tinnitus in my life. So I would say it came to me, and it's still there, because right now I'm working with it with a lot of clients in my clinic in Hamburg. And it's it's on my way the whole time. Yes.
so you then set up a clinic in Hamburg
Yeah.
doing the same thing, and then Boris joined you. So let's talk to Boris, and then we'll talk about the clinic. Obviously, why you set it up was you needed to share this, and there were, Dr. Levine's son was the only person in Germany, and this is crazy, the number of people that suffer with this. And I've had some myself very recently, and luckily it's not there. And but I can imagine in both ears and very loud, you will become very depressive and almost suicidal. Like what can I do? Because I've got this noise all the time, all day and all night. I think that's the thing. People don't realize it goes on. It doesn't go away.
Yes.
That's the key.
That's
Hey,
the
Boris,
point.
tell us your story. Why are you working with Robert? Why are you involved with it? Because I know you had some issues too, but it's slightly different.
Yeah, I think it's quite simple. Also Robert and we know each other, I think, since 20 years. We did a training together as health practitioners. And then after our training, our ways separated. Robert did his things, I did mine. But in 2016, I had a sudden hearing loss on my left side. And I was sitting at my desktop, I was working at my computer, and suddenly my left side was said like a shutdown, and it was horrible. I was really shocked. I know there something exists like sudden hearing loss, but when you have it by yourself, it's really a shock. And the first thing I did was taking my phone and called Robert, and he said me, okay, the first thing you do is protect your ear. And I put some ear protection in it. And on the next morning, I drove to Robert's clinic, and I get treatments, I think 3 or 4. And after, I think, the second laser treatment, the ear was opening again, and I could hear, and that was immense release. I was very, very happy. And that was the first experience with the laser therapy. But I think it takes 2 or 3 years. I did my things, and then Robert and me, we had a process, and in 2019, Robert trained me in doing the therapy and working with his clients. And so today we are doing together the clinic. Yes, that's in short my story.
I just want to say to the audience, when Robert and Boris are both Heilpraktik, is that right? Practitioner?
You can say naturopath, I would say in English.
Yeah, naturopath.
But naturopath would be one way of saying it. But I think there's something else that most of the audience won't understand, is the training that you have to go through is just intense, and and you are regularly measured by external people that come in, and I believe that's the case, that you have to, it's not just go off and get a qualification and you got a certificate.
No, it was 3 years hard training we did together from, I think, 2003 till 2006.
Yeah, and it's very, very intense. I do know that.
Yes.
So and people will go to people like you in Germany. They'll go to see doctors, but they'll also come and see you as well, because the doctor's always crazily busy, and the naturopaths, there are a lot of them in Germany. There's a lot more. It's well accepted in Germany in comparison to other countries. Yeah, even France here, we don't have them.
It's interesting because when I started to work as a naturopath in Germany at the beginning, or when I had the education, when I told the people around, then they were looking a little bit, what are you doing? Okay. They were little bit, how do you say?
Strange, a little bit strange.
A little bit strange, not something serious. And right now, many years later, right now, when I'm telling anybody, I'm have a clinic, I'm working as a naturopath, everybody's excited and say, very good and great, what are you doing? Yeah. It's changed.
It has changed. It changed the picture.
Which is really good news for anybody in this field. So let's just talk a little bit about we'll talk more about what really is the therapy. How does it work? What really is the difference? Because I think the thing that people will be interested in is, okay, so the laser therapy. Why does that work? I mean, one word really, mitochondria, is the key. So spoiler alert, but if you don't know what mitochondria are, then I need to just probably explain that very briefly to the audience. It's covered extensively in the book here.
Yeah,
how could I heal?
you write a lot about it, about mitochondria. Yeah.
Which, so I'll just give a little bit of education about mitochondria, and that will then lead into why I use lasers, and also the other interesting fact, which Boris and I know Robert, we've been discussing, or you've been discussing this with Boris, is this whole release of the trauma. And I'll explain a little bit about that as well, very briefly. So I'm going to limit it to a minute or so. So inside every single cell, bar blood cells, there's a couple of others, but basically blood cells are, they don't have them, but inside every other cell are anything from around 500 to 10,000 little tiny cells or little organs, they call them organelles, so they're female, and they are female mitochondria. And mitochondria are derived from bacteria. They're not human. They have their own DNA sequence as well, which is very, very important. And what they basically do is they create energy through a long drawn out process called the Krebs cycle or the citric acid cycle, which then supposedly produces something you may have heard of called ATP. There's also other factors as well, can create heat, which I think is more likely to be the case, which then structures the structured water inside the cell, which gives the cell jelly-like substances. Now, the point is that mitochondria are very delicate. They're derived from bacteria, as I mentioned earlier, and they can be damaged very easily. And subsequently, that damage causes the body to react in specific ways. The cells actually destroy themselves. They stop functioning correctly. There's something called mitochondrial dysfunction, which is quite well, it's getting better understood. And essentially that's what is happening. And I'll explain, I'll let both Robert and Boris explain, well, so what, what's going on inside the ears? What's mitochondria got to do with this? What are lasers doing? So there we go. Over to you, guys. Who wants to go first?
Yeah.
Who wants to answer?
Start. Your English is better than mine, so
I don't know, but yeah, there are different types of laser machines, I would say. For example, in the school medicine, they use lasers in the surgery, to cut things, and
tissues,
in this case, the laser, the wavelength is very high, and with this wavelength, you can cut also structures. And in our clinic, we use lasers which are called low level lasers. Low level means that the wavelength is lower. It's around 650, 800, 900, and it's called nanometers. And in this wavelength, you can when you then treat the cells, then the cells produce more ATP, and ATP is the phosphate which the cells need for energy. And when you summarize it, you just can say you feed the cells with the laser.
And I'll show people what the laser looks like. And this is a picture of your of
clinic.
You actually, Robert, you treating a woman, and at the time you only had one laser, but you were telling me that you actually have two, so you can shine at the same time. We'll talk about the treatment plan, but people can see this laser, and what you actually do is you shine this low level, so it's not at a high power, it's a low power, so it doesn't cut, it doesn't harm, it doesn't do anything like that. It's just, but it's powering, feeding the mitochondria, so they produce ATP. ATP produces more structured cells. The structured cells can then heal, and in doing so, with the healing, then the tinnitus is damaged, obviously, at some level, which I'd love to talk about. But it's this, the healing, that it helps tremendously with the healing. Well, it does. It helps tremendously with the healing, and it's proven that it does that.
Yeah.
So I'll come out of the screen share.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no, I mean, there are no side effects. The only bad side effect would be for the eyes. And as you can see on the photo, yeah, you're wearing glasses which protect
I'll put it back
protection
up.
glasses.
protection glasses, and so nothing can happen with the eyes. So it's absolutely no side effects. There's no burning of cells or whatever. Yeah.
It's not possible.
Yeah, exactly. So it's and how long, by the way, people will ask a little bit more about the type of therapy, which we'll come back into, but so you're shining it, this laser frequency. Now you have two of these, you were telling me earlier, into both ears, and this effect does what to the mitochondria? Give it a little bit more of the science, I guess. Who wants to talk? We or Boris?
Or maybe.
Yeah.
You've gone into the science before, Boris, with me. So yeah,
the mitochondria are able to take the light photons of the laser and increase their function. Robert, vielleicht maybe you can add something.
Yeah, I would say it's good expressed, and their function, and they produce a lot of ATP, which is then absolutely necessary for the cell, for the energy. And I can't explain exactly in the mitochondria what is happening. This I can't explain, but I can say in the how do you say, in the science, that the ATP in the cell increases, and that's the effect. Yes.
So hence the essentially the cell they get rebuilt and repaired, and therefore, well, if we go back into let's go right back a little bit before.
I mean, I sorry.
I was just saying, what do you think causes the tinnitus then? Because you talked with Boris about whatever you do, you've lost your hearing, cover your ears up. Why did you say that? That's an interesting comment. And this may answer a bit more of the question.
That's the topic of ear protection is very, very important for our therapy, because when the hearing cell, the hearing cell needs ATP to do its job. And when you protect your ear, the hearing cell has more ATP for doing restoring and recovering, because it doesn't have so much. It doesn't have to do so much work on the hearing process. So every client in our clinic, we tell them, please protect your ear. Still, your tinnitus is away. It's very important.
Yeah, when you, for example, have a sudden hearing loss, then the cells have less energy. That's one reason, because it takes a lot of energy. For example, when I went for 20, 30 years in concert when I was 15, there was so much energy they needed for the loud sounds, and after that they were a little bit I would say they had no energy anymore. And
quite empty of ATP. Yeah.
They were empty of ATP, and the cell needs ATP. The inner ear cells needs ATP for the function that the kalium, it's called kalium ions, to pump them out of the cell in the interstitium. And in this case, when this works, then the inner ear is quiet again. But yeah, this needs a lot of ATP. And when the ear is doing a lot of work, then it costs a lot of ATP. And this is why I said to Boris, okay, take the ear protection. Then it doesn't, the ears doesn't need that much energy anymore. They can regenerate. And also in the next step, take the laser treatment to get energy, to produce ATP. And in this case, the cells can recover again, pump the kalium out of the cells, recover, and the answer of that is that the hearing is getting better, because after sudden hearing loss, you have the hearing is down a little bit, and also they have more energy, that the pressure is going away, and this that also the tinnitus is going down, because most of the time you have a tinnitus when the cell in this area, in this frequency where the tone is, the cells are a little bit lazy, I would say. They are less of energy. Yeah, most of the time. That's the point.
Yeah.
And that's the reason of tinnitus. Yeah.
So you can treat from both sides. The one thing is to protect your ear, so it saves you ATP. And on the other hand, as Robert explained, you bring energy into the ear through laser treatment. So both sides are very, very important.
It's really amazingly simple. I think that's the
in a way.
Yeah.
In a way, it's totally simple, of course.
But in reality,
in reality, it's different, because in my case, I had really from outside loud music. That was the case of tinnitus. But there are also patients or clients with tinnitus. They have sudden hearing loss. They have stress, and that's another point. But stress is also in the autonomic nervous system, and when it's stressed all the time, then it's one reason of that is that you're in the fight and flight modus, and in this modus the eyes are open, they want to see everything, and also the ear is open, and the ear wants to hear everything. So also
it's working very hard.
The work, they are working a lot. The ears are working a lot, and every sound, every little sound wants to be heard. And so it's also a lot of work, and it's a little bit the same thing as I went to a concert. The ears had a lot of work, and also when you have stress, the ears have a lot of work to do. Yeah.
It makes complete and utter sense. And we could now talk about, which we've basically talked about, the emotional reasons as well, because some people say, well, I didn't go to a concert. But we know from the person that brought, I think, a lot of our attention to this was a German. He's since passed, and certainly someone I studied in depth, and his name is Dr. Gert Hammer. Very much what we would call in my language a maverick doctor. He created many enemies, particularly in Germany, politically, and also the medical system. So he's not very well liked. But I think after the last 3-4 years, we really do understand what's been going on. 3 years, actually. what's been going on within the system of how it's been captured. I don't want to get into the reasons behind that. That's another story. What we can say is that what Hammer's work pointed towards is the fact that, and it's now called Meta Health. It was called German New Medicine as well. I think these are still around. Meta Health certainly is. The point is that it was a shock, and what the ear is doing with the sound is blocking the sound from coming in. So it, like you said, it's lazy for a reason. It's saying, I don't want to hear this sound. And I know I've worked with people personally where I found that the noise corresponded exactly to their mother's voice, who the mother was a narcissist and continuously telling them, you're not doing the right things. You're doing it wrong. You're stupid. You are an idiot. What the hell are you doing on this planet? You have no, etc., etc., etc. And so I think that there is that point, and you talked particularly, Robert, about your somatic experience, and I'm sure, Boris, you can relate yours as to what caused the hearing loss, and on an emotional level. And I will explain this, and I explain it well inside the book, that trauma causes, and we have the proof, mitochondrial dysfunction. It's not, it's external, as with a very high level sound, and also with a sound that the ears want to block out. So yeah, who wants to go first, Boris or you, Robert? Tell us what your thoughts are about that, and what was your
I'm a somatic experiencing practitioner, and so I know what trauma can do, and also we have clients in our clinic who had no history of loud music or concerts or whatever, but they had a history of stress and trauma, and so it is also really, really important to work in also that part out, that nothing can happen again, a sudden loss or something with the ears. And somatic experiencing is also a treatment, a therapy which goes along with the what's his name again, with the Stephen Porges. He was working with the parasympathicus and sympathicus, and he had also some results from hearing, because he in his book I read something about it, that also the hearing, the process belongs together with the autonomic nervous system. And for example, when you're very stressed, as I told you already, in the middle ear there are some little muscles, and they block the bones, the middle ear bones. And so when you're really relaxed, the muscles are working in the middle ear, and they block the sound waves. So you have your own sound protection in your ear already. And when it works well, when you're relaxed, and then you can sleep even when there's a big street beside you, because the middle ear muscles are working, and so the sound is going down, and you don't have that much stress with your ears, and also with your cells, with the inner ear cells. But the other way around, when you're really stressed and when you have trauma, or as you said, Richard, when you have a mother or a father, they were shouting at you, and always you have to do this, you have to do that, then of course your autonomic nervous system is stressed. You're in the sympathicus most of the time, and so the muscles in the middle ear, they are off, and so all the sounds and all the waves are going through to your inner ear, and you have more work to do, and you are stressed, and also not with your body, also with your ears. And so it's very important to work also with trauma. And but also it's really important when there's, for example, when there was a sudden hearing loss, there is a damage at the ear. And in my point of view, or what I saw in my history, is that it's really necessary to work at the trauma, that it's not happen again. But when the trauma is released, then still you have a hearing loss, and the hearing loss is important to regenerate. And this works with protection and with laser treatment, for example, that the ear gets energy and a possibility to heal also. Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
And and that explains it really, really well, especially that hearing loss after you've had the treatment, that you will get this hearing losses, because that's part of the healing process. I think that must be very challenging for clients. Well, I came here to get rid of my tinnitus, and now I can't hear anything, but it will come back. This is And Boris, do you know what your trauma was, as a matter of interest?
You mentioned Dr. Hamer. And Dr. Hamer, he found out that tinnitus is, from his point of view, is an active conflict phase, so to say. And when the tinnitus is in the healing phase, Dr. Hamer, he wrote, then there comes a hearing loss. I'm not totally agree with it, because we have patients who had a hearing loss without a tinnitus before. And we are still, Robert and I, will still do research. And we think that there is more than Hamer found out. He did a very good and very important start. But in our clinic, we see other forms of hearing loss and tinnitus, and the combination of both. So there's more to do research. Yeah. My hearing loss on the left side, it was after a big crisis in my life. It was after that. I was recovering and my health was getting better. And then my hearing loss came. So I would say it was a part, like Hamer describes, a part of the restoring process. But in our clinic, we have many cases without the tinnitus before. And before the hearing loss, I had a slightly tinnitus. Yeah, but it's not always this way.
It's fairly obvious to also understand that it's not like the doctors say, oh, well, it's we need to give you cortisol, which is just putting you under stress again, which actually would, in theory, that would just make it worse. But it's also to do with hearing loss, because you don't want to hear something, or you're trying to cover up. I mean, there's the obvious bit. Anyway, we're going off in too much detail. So let's talk. I want to ask you a little bit more about the therapeutic intervention. How long? There's also costs involved. How many sessions does a person need? You also recommend doing the interventions to release the trauma. All these things are very important. So what are you finding with someone showing up with, I don't know, an average, whatever average tinnitus would be, because what's the therapeutic intervention? I know now you've got 2 lasers, and how long? And we've had this discussion, Boris and I, but let's go into a little bit more detail.
I would say, You want to, yeah, you can answer, Boris. Yeah, go ahead.
The most of the patients who came into our clinic are so-called chronic tinnitus patients with 1 year, 5 year, 10, 15, 25 years with tinnitus. And normally it needs longer period of treatment. Normally we do or we recommend 10 times laser treatment in a very short range of time, and then stop the laser treatment and maybe wait 4, 6, 8 weeks. And in this time of when we stop the laser treatment, the hearing cells, they normally can restore very deeply after the laser treatment. So that's what we do mainly with the chronic tinnitus patients.
And this you can do, like you did mention, I think almost 2 sessions a day, but certainly 1 session per day.
Yeah, there are you can do it different ways. When someone is coming maybe from maybe Denmark or Netherlands, one way to do the treatment is to come 1 week in our clinic and do 1 to 2 treatments a day for 5 days, and then stop the treatments and then wait the recovering process. When someone is close to our clinic, maybe living in Hamburg, he can come 1 or 2 times a week in our clinic and do a treatment. Both ways are possible. Both ways do work.
I think that people understand, they can appreciate that if they're traveling a long distance, and you probably have hotels that you recommend, or all those types of things, and that sort of thing, and go off and visit Hamburg and the surrounding areas to enjoy your time there.
Yes.
So these are all possible. And there's also, and maybe Robert, you can answer a little bit of that, because when I spoke to Boris, he said there are other things that you can do following that. It depends on how chronic the problem is, but you can actually get special earbuds with lasers in them and things like that, which you supply as well, don't you?
Yeah, for clients who come from far away, we recommend also home laser treatment. Then they have the possibility to treat also at home, and this looks a little bit like in ears, like an Apple with listening
earpods,
earpods, earpods, yes, exactly.
But not they have wires connected to them. They're not connected into an iPhone or
cable.
It's a cable, yeah.
Yeah,
it's a cable.
Because the Bluetooth one would destroy the mitochondria. Not recommended.
Not a good idea with Bluetooth. Yeah.
So we have this. We would recommend that the laser treatment can still go on when the people after the clinic, and this would be great. One more point is that it's really necessary to have a look at the hearing test at the beginning, so that we can see how much are the frequencies are down, how where's the line, and so it depends a little bit how much treatments we will recommend. If there's just a little bit, just under 30 dBs or decibel, then we would say, okay, maybe we can do less treatments, or maybe they can only treat their ears with the home laser treatment, because this is not that much energy. But when the hearing test is really not that bad, maybe it's enough of treatment. And this is maybe one more point. And also, if the process is not that chronic, when it's very just happened, the hearing loss, then the healing process, it's like Boris said when he came to my clinic, it can go very fast sometimes. So in his case, it was in the second treatment he already felt much better. So then it is not necessary to make 10 treatments. So it's less than that. But most of the time we don't see that much clients in our clinic because most of
That's
the
a
time
problem.
they have a very acute process. Then they go to the doctor and then they do the other way. And most of the time in our clinic we have the really chronic clients. Yes. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about just how long does a session last? They're on the table, they're lying down, usually both lasers in both ears, but not necessarily. What is it like to be a client? You come in, you talked about hearing tests, you obviously take a history. Just give people an overview of what happens.
It's I think it's really comfortable, I would say. The therapy, it doesn't hurt, and most of the time the people they're lying on their back, as we saw already on the picture which you showed here. And then you get the treatment. It's a little bit warm, I would say, and it's really comfortable. And most of the time the people, they just really relax and calm down. And also we have made the experience that a few years ago we only treated one side. It was already relaxing, but now we started with both sides, and we had the experience that it is stimulating the parasympathicus, and the people, they just relax even more,
calm down,
and they calm down. And also when you never when you, for example, some people, they're really that high level, and they were really surprised that they felt asleep, for example. And it stimulates the parasympathicus, which is a really, really good side effect, I would say.
A positive side effect. How long
very
does it
positive
last?
side effect.
How long does it last, Boris, then a session, each one of these sessions?
Normally per ear 30 seconds. When we have children in our
30 minutes. 30 minutes.
30 minutes. Yeah.
So sorry. What
30
did
seconds,
I say?
You said 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Oh, that would magic therapy. No, 30 minutes. 30 minutes per ear. Yeah.
So you could do both ears in 30 minutes.
Yes. Yeah.
And before a client comes in, they have a hearing test, or you may have gone for a hearing test separately, or do you do the hearing test?
Always we do a hearing test in our clinic. Always.
So you're assessing the number of decibels lost, the frequencies, etc.
Yes.
That's really reassuring for many clients, especially if they're traveling. Also, so they do 30 minutes, and if they're traveling, they can do a session in the morning, a session in, say, for example, the early afternoon, evening, and they could do
exactly
5 of those in 5 days, or 10 sessions in 5 days. As an example.
I would say one point which is I would say is really important beside that is that we both are listening to the clients, what are the problems, and also with some clients I do the somatic experiencing to solve also the traumas and release the traumas and work on that point. And most of the time the tinnitus clients have a we would say in the somatic experiencing global high activated nervous system. And so it's really important to work sometimes not at the trauma, but just to to calm down a little bit, and so the people feel much better. This is really also one important thing. And but just talk also with to the people and listening to them, because in the past, most of them, they went to the doctor. Most of the time, the problem is they don't have the time, just a few minutes, and then yeah, you have to live with it. And we are listening, and we show them, I would say, a little bit light at the end of the tunnel. So, and this is also one important point. For example, one client of us, he just wrote a book, and he's a musician. And when he had only 4 years ago, he's professional musician, and there was no way to work anymore. And right now he's still in life. He can do his work, and he's yeah, pretty happy. And he said, he gave me his book, and he wrote a sign for me inside, and he said, yeah, to giving hope is the strength. And that was really yeah, it was nice to read. And I would say is a good point for the people come at a clinic, and not to hear up, there's nothing to do, yeah, that's it. And yeah, most of the time the people, they get yeah, they get a little bit more powerful, with more hope out of this place. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, let's just briefly talk about some of the major problems nowadays that are going on. One of those big problems are, we're talking about this, electromagnetic fields. We are seeing as practitioners across the globe that the introduction of mobile phones continuously on people's electromagnetic field, and the tinnitus is rising. And then to go off and put earbuds in, which have Bluetooth in them, which are electromagnetic fields, in your ears as a young person right now, you
Yeah.
so looking at solutions, really, can you tell, you deal with some of that EMF stuff, and are you able to get that healed as well? What are your thoughts?
Can you explain a little bit further?
Well, we know that the electromagnetic fields, the microwave energy coming off of the devices from mobile phones being held up against the ear,
yeah, okay,
is very bad for the ears. We put the earpods in the ears. If people are living around microwave technology, as in Wi-Fi, mobile phones are sleeping next door to the mobile phone, which is continuously communicating with the tower all night long, that we know that this causes tinnitus. I had tinnitus in Canada, and it was a very low rumble in the background of my ears. My son had it. My wife had it. In fact, she was the person that says, I have this low rumble. I said, me too. And then also my son was old enough. He said, no, I've got this going on all the time. One of the reasons we moved from where we were in Canada to a little village in France was to get away from the mobile phone towers and the Wi-Fi of the people next door and the big heavy stone house. We don't get as much of this now, but it's a common problem. What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's a very difficult topic, because many people, they can't move, and left their places, and its electromagnetic fields are all over the place, as you just described. What I recommend to our patients is at minimum to shut off everything during the night.
So the body can
wireless
relax,
arm.
right?
Yeah,
It relaxes,
absolutely.
which
It's
is
very important. But
Yeah.
even that is not possible for everyone. They track their REM phases, and they have their phone right beside the head. And in my experience, it's very difficult to tell the people, hey, check what you are doing there at night, and give your body the possibility to recover, at least at night. It's very difficult topic, I think.
I was talking only earlier on today with a friend of mine from Australia, and he runs a company where they shield the bedrooms with special paint, and it's not very expensive like it used to be. It's a lot cheaper than it was. But I'm in favor of that. I was just wondering what your opinion was. But have you had people with this type of tinnitus, which seems to be a low level, boom, 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 like an engine going? And you must have success with that. Most tinnitus people are aware of is a or whatever. It's that there are different types, aren't there? But
I mean, we have not really. I mean, we know the problem. We had, for example, also I think 1 or 2 times, clients, they had problems with windmills, for example. This is also a big problem right now. And so they had a house very close to a windmill, and the woman, she was getting crazy because there was no sleep anymore, and she went to a hotel just to sleep there, and she said, I can't live with that. And from that point on, she had tinnitus, for example, this one. And also we have something electric fields at home, and also how do you say, the water under the house, and things like that. I have, for example, I just tried out, and it's a little advice which I put. It's not electric, but I put it in the power, and it's a kind of bringing the electricity just to the ground and just to go away. I just tried it out, and it worked, in my opinion, pretty well, because the air is fresher, and I sleep very good. And sometimes I just, when there's a client, I have the feeling, there's something, some problems with that, then I just recommend this device. It's not really expensive, and maybe that's one point. And also some people, they just are on the phone all the time, and I just tell them, okay, this is this is not really good. You have tinnitus and you're just on the phone all the time. And also the in-ear, it's not really good. You have to change something, just to then I recommend them just to buy a little box on the table when they make phone calls with a company, with a good sound. I would recommend them this, just to reduce a little bit all the frequencies, and to make a little bit sensitive. But in the city, in Hamburg, for example, it's really, really it's a big problem. It's a really big problem. For example, when you live in an apartment directly in the city, there's Wi-Fi everywhere. You just turn it on, and
10 sorts of Wi-Fi through your
everywhere.
flat.
This is and maybe this is also one problem, because why the people have, for example, so much tinnitus. This is one. I think it's one point. Another point is the loudness of the city, and another one is poison from everywhere, from eating, from whatever. It is it's a lot of some points, they come together. Yes.
We also know that tinnitus can be brought on by severe aluminium or with some sort of mercury poisoning as well, amalgams in the teeth and what's being injected into people as well. This can all bring these on. It's the poison that's damaging the mitochondria, and the ears are so sensitive.
Yeah, they are sensitive, and antibioticum, for example, is one poison which is also can be very dangerous. We had also clients, they took some antibioticum, and from that point on, they had one side is dump. So it's a mixture of a lot
many
of
factors.
Yeah.
Many factors. Well, I love your work. I think it's the reason why we're talking is that there are so many people out there who've had tinnitus. I've had my little fair share of it, nowhere like you, Robert. And I haven't had the hearing loss like you, Boris, but I've certainly had enough to worry me, to say, well, what are the solutions, and they aren't always what Hammer said that they were. Well, it's a trauma. It can be as simple as, and other things going on. I know my low level was caused by, as I said, the electromagnetic fields in where I was living, because it stopped when I came here.
And very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah.
So, this is useful to know. The other thing as well that I think, do you do other things as well with the lasers, or is it just you're focused on tinnitus? Because I saw on the website there you do have other things. It's really just more hearing, isn't it?
I think, the laser devices are actually built for problems with the whole body. For example, you have
with the joints.
For the joints, yes, or you have something with the ankle, and there is
lumbago
pain. There is something big, you have a big knee or something, which helps a lot. But this is another point. Most of the time, the people they go to the doctor. I have problem with my back. Okay, then we do something there. You get in, some medical, and then it's fine. But it would be the best if the doctor they would use laser treatments for problems like this.
But where you and I know that the whole medical system is captured, that the doctors and they don't know about this. It's not that they're naive or they're not educated. It's because they're not taught anything about this. They're aware of mitochondria, but they're not aware of this incredible work. It's been around a long time. We understand, that mitochondria feed on these infrared what is it, 600 to 880 nanometer? Was it that? I can't remember the exact amount that you said, but
around that is.
So it's not really the doctors, and therefore the clients are not getting that information.
I had one. I don't know if you remember that, Boris. In my clinic, there was one client. He came. He had a broken middle bone from the feet. It was broken, but it was everything was fine again after a few weeks, but still the feet was it was big. It was swollen.
It was swollen.
It was really big, and he went to a physiotherapist, and again, but still it was big. It was a little bit like an elephant on one side, and he was a little bit up. I can move and it doesn't hurt anymore, but it's strange. And then he came to my clinic, and I said, okay, we can do laser treatment there. a good possibility. And so we started, and then after the first treatment, then 2 days later he came, and then he was a little bit angry, and I was, oh, something moved wrong, maybe, I don't know. And then he was angry, and he said, this can be after one treatment, and my my feet are very thin. It's unbelievable. And he said, this can be. And I said, oh, okay, it's a good point. This is really good. And he said, yes, but nobody told me. I was physiotherapist for months and there, and now one treatment. This is ridiculous. He said that was funny. Yeah.
And that shows the power of this stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I think people, if they've listened all the way through here, really are not quite aware that tinnitus, as we said at the start, what is the solution? I haven't come across any.
Yeah.
I've done therapy with people, and we've reduced it and helped, but it's still very long-winded and challenging. But this is really, a combination of the therapeutic if required, along with the lasers. Yeah, and remember, if you're only doing that once on a foot that's really inflamed with water, and you're doing this 10 times in 5 days with a client, or obviously a couple of weeks, it gives you some sort of idea of how challenging this problem really is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah, very, very point.
Exactly.
Incredible. Can we just finish off on a couple of lovely examples, if you have some, just of a client came in with multiple ringing or something, and we did this and it was reduced.
Some
You've
highlights,
talked about your own, a couple of clients. You don't need to, just some nice success stories that people can go, oh, that's me, or I know someone, etc. Who's going through this.
One success story came to my mind. It was last year. One client, a man, I think, in his 50s or in the end of his 50s, he had tinnitus maybe 22 years, and his sleep was very, very bad. He couldn't sleep well at night, and he was very exhausted, so to say. And I remember after the first laser treatment, when he come to the second treatment, 1 day later, he said it was the first night since years I could sleep like a baby. And it was very moving, because he was a career man and very focused, and it was very, very, very moving to listen to him and to see what the laser treatment can do and what good sleep can do. He was totally another man at the following day. So
wow,
that was one of my highlights. Yeah.
And Robert, you must have some as well. Obviously, Boris was a success story.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, and Robert too. He was also a success story. Robert himself.
Yeah, my story myself, is positive, and for me, it's it is most of the time it's really it touches me when there's somebody who is really, really down from tinnitus, and then when I start to treat and talk, and you feel, oh, this is really tough, and then when after a while, after weeks or months, then it starts to get better. For example, we had one guy, Boris. He was, I think, 1 or 2 weeks ago. He was again to refresh. He was in our clinic because now it's better, but he is still. Oh, I want to protect. I want to get sure that nothing gets worse again. He was there for 5 treatments again, and before that, that's 1 year ago or 1.5 years ago, he was there, and he was so down and so depressed, and it was unbelievable hard work and all to talk with him. And also he had questions, which is absolutely okay. He was on the phone and writing, and also in the clinic with the treatments. And but then, and also after the 10 treatments, it was okay, you have to go home. He was depressed. Oh, it doesn't help that much. He was really down, because what can I do else? And after a while, and also with phone calls and everything, it was getting better. And right now, after one and a half years, he's totally different man.
Yeah, totally different. Yes.
Yeah, and
Wow.
this is really good to see. Yeah.
Yeah, very moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, very moving. And this is also, it's why we do it, really, isn't it? We work with clients because we are helping them on their journey. And I think you might have implied, Robert, and know, Boris, we've talked about this, that some people have taken their lives because of tinnitus, and to be able to intervene in that journey and stop that is magical. That's, this is why we do it. And I know doctors are like that along the way. Many of my doctor friends are similar. When they can intervene and save someone's life, that's what they do it for. So it's wonderful. Okay, well, really, we ought to complete there. There'll be information of how you can contact both Robert and Boris. The website is in German, but I think if you use a translation thing, it can turn it into English. And obviously, they speak English as well.
Maybe that's one good point. Maybe that's one good point. We have to maybe also do the internet page also in English.
Possible. It might work, might be helpful. I have yet to come up to Hamburg, as I mentioned earlier. I really want to come because I love.
Yeah, please come.
Germany.
Yeah.
I live in France. It's simple enough, and so that's wonderful. Sort of approximate cost of a treatment as well. So people, if they're paying themselves, it's probably going to be into €1,000 for 10 sessions, I would have thought, minimum. But what are we looking at, just so people understand 2023 prices?
It's a treatment is around 2,000. When you do 10 treatments. Yes.
And that's
when you do both years.
That's totally understandable, and totally, and I know people would do that because they've lived with this, some of them, as you said, 20, 30 years, no sleep, affecting their business, affecting their life, affecting their whole life. This is nothing, because there is nothing else out there. That's basically it, is there, So, perfect. Okay. Any other thoughts to leave people with? Have you got a little gem of something else, or should we complete there?
I would think. Robert?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I would say when it comes to inner ear problems like tinnitus and hearing loss, I would say there is always hope. Really, there is always hope. It's not a guarantee that it will be 100% perfect, but there is always hope, I would say. That's my message. Yeah.
Perfect. And Robert, you were going to just say something as well, just to finish?
Yeah, I mean, if the body gets the possibility to regenerate, then it works, and we don't have to do something for it. That's most of the time the problem, that the tinnitus clients and people, they are a typical kind of individual person. Most of the time they are very strict and in time and want to do more work than less work, and So those kind of people, when they have a problem, they want to solve the problem, and they want to do whatever they can do to solve it right now. And that's sometimes the problem, because to solve this kind of symptom, it's necessary to go the other way around, just to do nothing, I would say, just to calm down, and that the body can regenerate on its own.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very, very much, the two of you, for sitting down with me here on what day are we? Wednesday evening after you finish
Yes.
work,
Yes.
and to share your amazing work. And as I think, Boris, you said, there's always hope.
Yeah.
And in this instance, this is a solution, really good solution. Probably the only solution I've come across, and I've been searching around for tinnitus for a long time. And then also, to finish off with what you said, Robert, is the body. What we're doing here is assisting the body to heal itself. Really, at the end of the day, because there's no drugs, there's no pills to take. It really is. That's what it is, and we've seen that it does last. May need a top up, but there are other solutions, as we talked about, that could be taken home by a client as well. Well, thank you so much for your time. Until we actually meet in person, enjoy the rest of
Yes.
And thank you, Richard, that we that you invited us here in this talk.
Yeah, thank you, Richard.